So I spend a decent amount of time thinking about ways to fix the weapons already in the game. I got a little series about this weapon fixing, and when I'm making those, I often think about what would make a good new weapon. We don't get too many of those anymore, so I thought about 2 or 3 relatively unique new weapons for each of the classes. Now, I have no clue how some of these would actually function in the game. I don't have any way to test them. They could be too good or they could be terrible, but I try to make them as balanced sounding as possible. And I'm going to start this series with the Spy and work my way left after that, because why not? I started dealing with Scout, I'll do it the opposite way this time. This first weapon isn't even really much of a weapon at all. It would be a pair of heat vision goggles to replace Spy's revolver. And it would do exactly what it sounds like. When you press your reload button, it will bring up a menu to let you choose to see the outlines of enemies or teammates through walls. Or neither, there's an option to turn it off if you want to. So you know how when you spawn, you'll see your teammates' outlines for 10 seconds? Well, this would let you do that with enemies too, and continuously. This won't work on invisible enemy spies. Disguised enemy spies will still show as your team. So there's that, it won't let you see through enemy spy shenanigans. But this weapon would basically allow you to see where the enemy team is at all times. Is someone around that corner? Well, now you don't have to wonder because you can see that outline. And you can relay that information to your team and such. But this is a revolver replacement, so you're giving up your only form of ranged combat, making the knife your only damage output. Spy hasn't gotten an actual new watch since the Sniper vs. Spy update, which added both the Dead Ringer and the Cloak and Dagger. I had a few ideas for new watches, like one that allowed you to walk through enemy players and thin walls, so you could walk through a wall to escape or something, but I couldn't really think of any further pros or cons if it needed them. More unique watches are really hard to figure out how good they would actually be without any testing, or even if the stats are even possible. But what if there was a watch that was automatic? I mean, that would make you instantly invisible if you're in the sight of an enemy player, within a certain radius, maybe about the same visibility range as the sentry around every player. So this forces you to remain completely unseen and make enemies even more so have to always check their back. So for example, say the other team has a spy with this watch. You think that spy might be coming up behind you, you turn around and there's nothing there. The spy is instantly turned invisible. You can't see them, but as long as you or a teammate is looking at them, they can't attack you. Decloaking would still be instant and it would still make a slight noise like the default watch. But if you touch an enemy or take damage while invisible, the cloak blink time will be half a second longer, so if you do either of those things, you'll be visible for a little bit longer. And lastly, your alt fire will still have a function. It can be used to manually shut down the watch. With people constantly looking around, there might be an opportunity where you need a way to decloak. The manual shutdown will create a fairly loud turn-off noise, and then the watch will take 30 seconds to reboot, where collecting metal will not shorten the reboot time. So if there's a situation where you think you have to decloak, you can still do it, but you'll be out of any form of invisibility for 30 seconds. Sapper replacements are a relatively new thing. We only have one unlockable for that slot, so we could maybe use another one. So the Sapper would be like a bomb. So, you know, how about a Sapper that deals no damage while sapping, but when the timer is up, it will explode the building and damage everything near it. Say the explosion is about the size of a rocket and deals about the same damage as one to nearby buildings or players. But because this explosion is technically created by the spy, it will damage the spy who placed the Sapper, so you want to get out of there before it explodes. This Sapper would disable buildings but not damage them until the timer is up. But damaging the sapped buildings will reduce their timer. So you can sap the buildings and have you or a teammate shoot them to make them blow up quicker. But without damaging the buildings, the sap time is about 25% longer. You can see the times here. I'll probably put them up right now. And those were some of my ideas for the Spy. Hopefully it was at least a little bit interesting. Hopefully Valve will steal some of them. Hint, hint. So next time will be the Sniper, and if you haven't seen it, I have a little weapon fixing series about the weapons already in the game. You could watch that. Probably shouldn't, but you can. Alright, I'll catch y'all on the flip side, home fries. That's my outro now. It's not. It could be, but it's not.